Welcome to a special series of This Week in Canton City Schools, where we focus on the mental health and wellness of our kids and families. I'm Jacqueline Power, the broadcast media instructor here at the Timken Career Campus of McKinley High School, and your host today. The Canton City School District continues to partner with the Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health Agency. This agency provides a myriad of resources to the Stark County community and, most importantly, to our students within CCSD. Each month, we will feature resources and strategies to help the mental well-being of our young people. On this episode, we are talking with Dan Metzger of Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health to discuss the day treatment program school that he currently is principal of. Sit tight, all of that starts right now. In a continued effort to work with local agencies to promote the health and wellness of the whole child, we're moving forward in our series of shows with the Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health Agency. This episode will focus on the day treatment school that is unique to CNA and provides one kind of care for our growing kids and our district and our districts in Stark County. Today, we have Dan Metzger here to tell us about the program and its services. So thank you so much for being here. And we're going to start off by tell me a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, your career. Give us a little bit of background.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
So I'm from Stark County. I grew up in Massillon, graduated from there.
We won't hold it against you here in the studio.
Appreciate that. We're all here working together. It's fun during rivalry week. But
yeah, right.
No, I've been working at nonprofit agencies for the past 13 years, working with kids, trying to make a difference. Did 8 years of teaching in day treatment. Now I've been the principal there for 3 years.
Okay, so your background is education.
Yes.
And were you always with the day treatment program, or did you work in another district, or how did that work?
I've also worked through Red Oak Behavioral Health in Summit County. We're in Stark County as well doing case management, but my teaching and school life has really been at Child and Adolescent in the day treatment program. So how did you first become affiliated with CNA? A good friend of mine who actually works at Canton City Schools now, Dre Snyder, worked at Child and Adolescent, and he let me know there was a teacher opening, and I jumped on, and I've loved it ever since. Kind of had a passion for it. So tell me a little bit about your role and responsibility within where you are right now. So right now, as the principal of the school, the first thing is you got to create a safe learning environment and make sure everyone's there is getting what they need. But just in the principal role, you're working with all the different districts because we work with so many throughout the county. And now we're even working with districts outside of Stark County that are sending their kids to us. So that's what's kind of changed a little bit, is just being able to do that kind of stuff. We have to do, I'm kind of like the testing coordinator as well, doing all that stuff, working with the districts on that stuff. Working with all the district transportation departments, keeping everyone up to date, getting new kids in, working on transitioning our kids that are doing well back to their districts. So. And as an educator myself, I understand, with the last couple years, it's really been challenging. So what else has changed the past few years as you've been the principal in that particular role? It's just been a transition, from having your one classroom that you're working with and your students and not really having to worry about everything else that's happening throughout the program or that side of things. So just transitioning to having to look at the whole program and, again, working with those districts. That's a different aspect. Even when I was getting my principal license, doing internships, you're still focusing on your school at that point, whereas now I'm working with everybody throughout the area. Like a bigger picture. Yes, definitely more of a bigger picture than your normal principal role. Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look at the inspirational Unity video that was put together by CNA with the help of the youth within the local districts of Stark County. You. 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 You.
You are not alone.
You.
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 You are not alone.
We have always been there for each other since the first day of kindergarten.
Over the years, our support system has changed and looked different as we have grown up.
Last year, we supported our athletes, theater productions, choir performances, and club activities virtually.
We were there while we learned in person, virtually, and hybrid.
This year, we are back in the stands for athletic events, performing arts productions, and participating in school clubs.
During the past year, we all shared a unique experience that each of us can understand.
During our journey, we have celebrated our triumphs and faced our challenges with resiliency.
Each of us has had our own personal struggles.
some more than others.
At times, each of us have felt lonely, isolated, depressed, or experienced anxiety.
Feeling this way for 1 or 2 days is okay. But if you are having these feelings for multiple days, reach out for help.
Reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of strength. Talk to a friend, trusted teacher, coach, mentor, or parent.
If you need more help, reach out to a counselor. That's what they're here for.
This week, we are celebrating and acknowledging the importance of positive mental health.
We can make a difference every day by smiling at a classmate, saying or writing a positive comment, or reaching out to a fellow student who is struggling.
We are stronger standing together side by side as one community.
You.
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 You are not alone.
Happy Stark County.
Happy Stark County.
Happy Stark County School.
Happy Stark County Schools.
Happy Stark County Schools Mental Health Week from Central Catholic.
From Jackson Local Schools.
Happy Stark County Schools Mental Health Week from Lake Middle High School.
From Marlington.
From the Massillon City Schools.
Happy Stark County Schools Mental Health Week from North Canton, Hoover High School.
Glen Oak High School.
From Sandy Valley.
From Sandy Valley.
From Sandy Valley.
Happy Stark County Schools Mental Health Week from Perry.
From St. Thomas Aquinas.
From Tulsa High School.
From Alliance.
From Louisville High School.
From McKinley High School.
From Canton South.
Everybody needs to see this.
It's my understanding CNA's Day Treatment School is a one of its kind in Stark County and surrounding counties. Please provide a little bit of history maybe about the school and how the students are assigned to your particular school.
So day treatment started in the 1980s. Charlton Ellison has teamed with different community agencies and districts to kind of run the program up until 2009 when they decided they wanted to do it all on their own and be in charge of the whole program, the education, the therapy. As far as how students come in, so each student has to have some kind of traumatic event, trauma history that's been going on in their life or currently going on, and needing extra support. Districts will reach out to us to see if there's an opportunity for a placement, if that student would be a good fit for the program. We set up a tour with the family, start an intake process with them to make sure this is the best fit. Because again, we don't want to just take any kid. We want to make sure we're actually going to be beneficial to that student. So it's a process, and it doesn't necessarily mean every kid's going to come, but that's how it works with each district on an individual basis.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about what districts try to do in general, whether it's Canton City or any other district, you really are trying to look at that whole child and figure out what are the best options for that child.
Yep, it's a team decision too. We'll pull the districts in, the family in, anybody else who's involved, whether there's other sources of treatment that they're getting. Anyone who's, again, part of that team will be part of that decision process to make sure, again, this is the best fit. 'Cause that's the goal. We want to make sure that it's the right fit for the student and make sure that we're helping them get everything they need to make progress and get back on track.
Yeah, and flourish. So a school day at Shipley is broken up a little different than a typical school day. So describe that for me. What does it look like as a student? Like, when do I get there? What am I doing? Where am I going? I think for our young people, it's really critical, and for us as adults too, we like routine. So what does that look like, and what can I expect?
So we do have a little bit of a shorter school day. It's typically like 8 to 2:30. Now, even though the students come to us and are part of our school, they still maintain their placement in their school district. So a Canton City kid is still a Canton City kid. A North Canton kid is still a North Canton student. A Massillon kid is a Massillon student. And each district will bus their students in. And they arrive typically between 8 and 8:30, depending on traffic issues and how far they have to drive. Because some of these kids, it is a little bit of a drive from the surrounding areas around the Canton area. So they come in, get a small breakfast, start their academic day a little bit, and then each classroom kind of breaks up to their own schedule. Some classrooms, they like to have the group therapy early, some like to have it later in the day, but each student's going to receive 2.5 hours of group therapy, and then the rest of the school day is dedicated to academics. They receive lunch, we do a snack, we have a gym time for each student. And then again, as with age as well, you're going to have a little bit differences in the day and what classes you're going to have. Sure. For high school students, they have different academic needs that they need to meet. So we meet each of those. So we might have students in the high school classroom in the same grade, but they could be taking different classes depending on each district and when they want those classes taken. So that kind of sums up each person's day. And like I said, leave between 2 and 2:30 typically. Their buses from their districts come back and pick them up and take them home.
So I kind of think, even just as a high school and being a high school teacher, I try to that's my frame of reference. I'm best in that environment. So at high school, so do their classes kind of mirror what they're already doing, like you said, because it's still a Canton City kids, still McKinley High School kids, still Massillon Washington kids. So what? So the academic teacher then?
Yeah. So they. Okay. An academic teacher might be teaching English 9 and English 10 at the same time. So they might divide them up. We have other people that work in the classroom to help out as well. But whatever classes they would normally be taking in their high school setting, we try to follow that as best we can. There are obviously some issues that, maybe we can't meet every single class. We don't have a weightlifting room for students that are taking weightlifting. That's the biggest complaint I hear from the high school students. They want to take a weightlifting class, but we don't have that option really available for us.
So kind of breaking them up, elementary, middle, high. So how are the classrooms kind of divided up then in each classroom? We
have 4 classrooms. We have like a lower elementary, an upper elementary, a middle school, and a high school. Now there can be some overlap if you have, maybe an upper elementary kid who's missed a lot of school because of what's happened in their life. Maybe they're a little behind. They might need some extra work, so they might still be in that lower elementary. We just have to follow the 48-month rule for any student in the classroom based on their date of birth.
Okay, so 48-month rule. Tell me about that.
So you have they have to be within 48 months. They can't have kids that are, more than 48 months apart in age in one classroom.
Okay, that makes sense. So these teachers are teaching in that blended setting. What are some of the benefits and challenges with this type of setup?
The benefits, you look at the classroom as a whole, it's just the chance for kids to, if you have younger kids, maybe they're working in the classroom with maybe some older kids they wouldn't be around. It's an opportunity for them to learn from their maybe a little more mature. They can see things, how they're acting and handle situations and learn from them. Challenges you have to look at, it is hard from a teaching standpoint to try and teach all these different levels at the same time, but we try and do a lot of individualized education. Mm-hmm. We have extra support staff in the classroom to help out, and our teachers do a tremendous job of really planning these lessons around where the students are at and what they need academically so that they can reach all these students. And again, we'll divide into groups. Maybe one group's working on this area while the other group's working on this, and they'll switch. Maybe one group's on computers, doing some kind of academic work on there. Mm-hmm. But again, our teachers do a great job of making sure everyone's needs are met.
So do the materials, like the academic materials, come from the homeschools?
No, we provide all the academic materials.
Okay, so they are getting probably wherever the competencies line up, are they staying in line? So you talked about earlier, like that seamless transition from, they're going to be a part of the program, and then we want to be able to blend them right back into the classroom.
Yes, so they're still getting all their academic needs where they should be, and a lot of it depends on their function levels. Again, you have some kids that come in, maybe they've missed a lot of school, maybe they're really behind, and we have to really build that base up before we really get into where they need to be. We've had kids come in several grades below grade level, and we do everything we can to try and get them back to where they should be or as close as we can in the time that we have with each student. Yeah,
kind of closing that academic gap. Yes. So switching from kind of the academic gap to more of that, that behavioral piece, the piece that they're really there to hopefully bridge that along with the classroom teacher. There are therapists in the classroom. How do those different components integrate during the day to provide the best environment for that student?
I think it's just, it's part of building that whole classroom culture. Again, you have the teacher, you have the therapist, and that's what makes it the perfect setting for these kids because they're able to get the academic side with the therapy piece. And again, our staff work as a great team to build that classroom together, to really communicate, to plan, and have it set up the right way to benefit each kid. So now each classroom is a little different based on, age. You're not going to run a high school classroom the same as you would an elementary classroom, and our staff do a great job of planning it accordingly.
So I guess, again, maybe let's take it from the high school piece, and kind of maybe work backwards. So inside the classroom, I've kind of done my academic piece, and you talked about the group therapy piece. What does that actually look like and entail? So again, that consistency piece, that I like routines, I want to know what to expect. What does that kind of look like?
So each day group can be a little different. They do different activities, different challenges, different social skill building type stuff. Again, you might have more communication, more talking type activities with the older kids, and you do the younger kids. The younger kids need that more social games and activities kind of piece. But again, it changes each year with each classroom. Kids come and go throughout the year. Kids come and go over the summer. So each district or each classroom looks a little different each year and how it's set up. Because again, we look at everything individualized. What does this group of students need right now? Where are they at? Do you have a classroom full of kids that have been here for a while and are working toward getting back to their district? Do you have a classroom full of students that are all fresh and new and are still learning the basics of the program and the therapy part of it? So again, it's not going to be the same every day. It's not going to be the same every year. It kind of changes as everybody's needs change individually.
Feels a lot like a career in tech classroom. Sometimes years come in and you think, oh, okay, well, I can tell that they've spent time either photographing things on their own. They've used a little bit of whatever, Photoshop version on apps on their phones, and then the next year you get kind of the kids that are very green and things, and you're like, okay, kind of going back to square one. So it feels really similar to that. How about more specifically, sometimes a student can be triggered by a traumatic experience. What calming spaces are available in the school building? That seems to be a bit of a buzz right now. Even in homes, they talk about, if you go to Schumacher Homes, they've got one of the houses has like a calming room for kids. My daughters were both like, oh, this is so cool. I'm like, well, it serves a purpose. So talk to me about those spaces.
So we have several different areas we can use. So we have our own gym in the building that kids like to go down there to get maybe some energy out, do that kind of stuff. We have comfort rooms, which are more quiet areas they can be alone, maybe to work on schoolwork or just take a break. We call them reboots in the program.
All right.
Different activities. We have weighted blankets, weighted balls, weighted vests, all kinds of those activities. We also have sensory rooms. They're low lighting, more comfortable, bean bags, and little calming activities in there that the students can use if that's what they need. We have students that just need sometimes to get out of the classroom and just take a walk. So we have the building itself we can walk in. We go outside. We have 2 green spaces outside that kids like to utilize. We have a little playground area for the younger kids, and we have another green space that the older kids tend to like a little bit more. But so we have all options on the table. It depends on each individual kid and what helps them, what they need in those moments. And those moments might change when they first get there to when they're closer to heading back to their district.
And probably that smaller classroom size, that gives the opportunity for, a little bit of one-on-one for each kid. Then I would assume that
yes.
Whether it be the classroom instructor or that therapist that's working with that group of kids can kind of identify those needs then?
There is a lot of time for one-on-one with various people. Each kid, they come in, they might build different relationships with different staff members. Again, we have extra staff, we call them behavior interventionists, BIs, that come in, and we have one assigned each classroom. We have floating BIs that go where needed. If there's a student they have a relationship with that wants to work with them, we really focus on everything individualized and what those individual kids need at that time.
So I guess kind of maybe looking more holistic, what is the average stay of a student in your program, and how do you keep kind of that home district updated? Like you said, it's very individualized. So how does all of that take place? It seems like a lot of work to figure out where the kid is, get back to the home district. How long are they here? Are they coming back?
The typical stay is anywhere between 6 months and 2 years. But again, that's all individualized. It's not, a set plan ahead of time. This is how long this student's going to be here, because you never know what might change while they're there. So it's really anywhere in between the 6 months to 2 years. But we are in consistent communication with the districts, sometimes multiple people within each district, just to keep everyone up to date. A lot of students are on IEPs, so we're working on those. And anytime anything's going on major, I keep the districts up to date on what's happening, where they're at, progression. We talk, we do meetings about. We do review meetings about like where they are and what their kind of situation is at that point in time, so that everyone's up to date and communication's always happening.
I feel like obviously Canton City and like your home district, they're big districts. It's a lot of kids. So I guess my question to kind of follow up to that is, who is your contact person? Does that vary from school to school? Like, how do you identify who that is and kind of who you're communicating with that home district?
For most districts, it's their special education director, but there are other districts that use their pupil services director. I've had direct contact with some districts' principals. I've had direct contact with superintendents. It all depends. Each district's different. Each student's different, and kind of what their history is and what the districts have been working on with them. It is a lot to keep organized, but we do a great job as a team, keeping everyone up to date. And Sally Sutterfield, our clinical supervisor, runs the program. She does a great job also helping out in any way, working with the district too. But it's actually, we built such good relationships with the districts, and they do so much in Stark County for the kids here. It's easy really to work with them.
We have some great districts. I mean, Stark County is jam-packed full of incredible people that work so well with our kids. And I feel like kind of that transition going back into the school is key to when that updating was happening, all of those communication pieces, because you're really, in a perfect world, they go, they get the services that they need, and then you blend back in if that fits you, if that's really part of, your program. So the average stay length for kids
was about 6 months to 2 years. There's no, again, it varies.
Right.
Greatly.
Based on,
we might have a kid who's been with us for a year and a half, and then another traumatic event happens, and it kind of sets them back a little bit, maybe a little bit longer.
Okay.
So there's, again, we really shoot for that 6 months to 2 years as a window for each kid. Now, when they do start making that progress, we do like to get them back to the districts, because when they're at that point, if they overstay, it typically doesn't go well. There's that window of opportunity where they're at a good place and they're ready to keep going. Because, the students, they want to be back in their home district with their friends.
Hanging out with their friends, right. And back into the classrooms that they were kind of used to before they went into the smaller environment. And then, like you said, sometimes that smaller environment does work for kids for longer periods of time. So how do you prepare them then to transition back to their home district? So whether it's that 6 month mark, 9, 10, year and a half, whatever it might look like for that individual student, what preparations are put into place to make that transition?
So we do review meetings with the districts, and we talk about everything that's an option for them. Each district has different options, different setups for their students and what they have available. So if a district has comfort rooms available, okay, we'll still continue to let that student use a comfort room. But if it's a district like we don't have anything like that for them, then we start to gradually limit the students' use of that while they're with us to prepare them. Because if they're with us and they're continuously using the comfort rooms and they're not going to have that when they go back, that's not setting them up for success. So we really plan things out with each district on what they have available for each student and what the plan would look like for them to go back. And we start instituting that plan with us while they still have the people and the relationships available to them that they've built to work through this trauma. And that way they're set up for success when they go back.
Yeah, kind of like a true transition. I mean, it really does, like kind of some of those supports that were put in place when they were needed most. Do we have to continue to have those supports? And if you want them to be successful in their home district, and like you said, if it doesn't have that, it would be a very difficult, they could really regress as they go back into an environment they haven't been in a while. So schools, like on the teacher level, so if I had a student that was in, let's say, my broadcast media program that was transitioning from there to back into regular mainstream, how are the classroom teachers coordinated into that, or is that something that's really just done at more of the admin district level and filtered down from there?
It kind of goes based on each district and what they want to do.
Okay.
Whenever we have the meeting, let them know, hey, anybody who wants to be a part of this meeting, any teachers, some districts bring the teachers along, some teachers bring the teachers for visits, some districts just bring the principals. Some like to meet with us individually and then take that information back to their team at their district and then kind of go back and forth that way. It's really, we let the districts kind of determine how they want the transition to look and how they want it to be run.
Okay. Anything that maybe I didn't cover that you would like to talk about, other than you happen to be in a building that's in our bulldog territory? How does that feel as a tiger being in a very bulldog dominant neighborhood?
It's fun. That rivalry week's a great week, but at the end of the day, everyone here in Stark County, we're all working toward the same thing of helping these students and being successful. So, like I said, it's fun, but, we're all working toward the same goal.
And we talked a little bit about it before we started taping, that it's all in good fun.
Yep, absolutely.
That rivalry really does a lot of incredible things for all of our neighborhoods. It really does, that from, the blood battle to the food drives and those kind of things. So I have great respect for your hometown area and where you graduated from, and appreciate all of the hard work that you're doing for all of our Stark County schools, including Canton City Schools and the Bulldogs. So thank you for being here. Thank you for helping our kids in our community and working with what seems to be an incredible staff and an incredible team. So I appreciate that. So for more information, you can visit, you can see it behind me, the website, www.childandadolescent.com. or you can call CNA at 330-433-6075. So thank you to Dan Mucci of the Marketing and Development Coordinator Office of Mission Advancement of Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health for helping to coordinate this episode and future episodes in this partnership. As for the TV11 staff, we will continue to bring you an inside look at the district each week during the regular school year, in addition to this series of shows on mental health and wellness. So if you are a staff member and would like to have a feature story on our regular program, please email me at power_j@ccsdistrict.org and our station administrator, Bill Widener, at widener_b@ccsdistrict.org. We'd love to have you into the studio to showcase the valuable experiences our kids have here at the Canton City School District and the supports we have in place to educate the whole child. Please visit our website at ccstv11.com, where you can get information on all of our shows and watch us on your favorite device. We'll see you next time.